Good day to you one and all. It is I, Justin Hawkins, and this is Justin Hawkins Rides Again, not in the usual familiar surroundings. It's a bit messy in here, but this is my house. This is where I live. These are my trinkets, my many candles. I'm wearing a denim shirt, which is it's the very fabric of rebellion, with an Anthrax t-shirt underneath it. So, actually, do you know? Well, it suggests, to me at least, that all is well in the House of Hawkins. Anyway, Happy New Year, one and all. I had a lovely time on New Year's Eve. I hope you did too. I was playing acoustical numbers in a boozery in Cornwall, which belongs to our drummer, Rufus. It was just amazing. We had all our children there, and I thought, this is so wholesome and heartwarming. I was playing, I don't know, I think I was doing, what number was it? I was probably playing Maria McKee, Show Me Heaven from the Days of Thunder soundtrack. And I looked back and I thought, the kid. And then I just saw my daughter looking at her phone, not paying any attention. And afterwards she said, well, it was boring. So it's like, fair enough. That's fair enough. She's a harsh critic indeed, and takes after her father, doesn't she? Anyway, I've got 2 days before I go on tour again, and that's not with The Darkness this time. It's with the live version of this YouTube channel. And it's the second time I've done it in theatres around the UK. It's called Justin Hawkins Rides Again. Again, I've been talking about it a lot. And it's going to be different this time.
Thanks everyone, it's been wonderful.
Anyway, ahead of going away on this tour, I've been talking to a lot of bands and a lot of musicians, mainly because they will feature as part of the experience in the Justin Hawkins Rides Again stuff. And I'll talk more about that in a minute. But those chats, I don't know, they've sort of forced me to sort of meditate a little bit about what's actually important to me with this channel and how I want to use it in the future.
Okay, so I suppose my issue with the YouTube is, I mean, first of all, it took me a little while to get used to the stigma of being called a YouTuber, but then I noticed that when I was sort of playing in festivals with The Darkness, like, people would come up to me backstage and say, "Yeah, I love your," and I'd expect them to say band or music or that song or whatever, and then what they'd say is channel. And I was like, what? Okay. I was always a bit taken aback by it, but I'm kind of getting used to it now, and I sort of get recognised at airports, and people often approach me, and it's the most unlikely, for me it's the most, it could be anybody really. People of all ages and from all walks of life come up to me and say stuff about the channel, which is, really, really encouraging. It's a huge subscriber base, and I want to say thanks to everybody that's actually decided to subscribe. I know that I don't always cover things that the vast majority of the internet would normally be interested in looking at, and that's a risk really, because I think I know that there are reactors who only do this really, and that sort of thing matters more to them, I think, because if it's your only source of income, you need eyes on it. But I would rather have I would rather cover the things that I'm actually passionate about and interested in, and then have fewer people more invested in it than everyone just going, I wonder what he's saying about my favourite artist at the moment, There is a little bit of, I think, in reaction terms, if I use this channel the way I have been, where it's sort of, where I listen to music and I don't do it so much nowadays, but if I break it down and then sort of talk about where I see the influences emerging from, do my usual stuff, that's fine. But if I say anything that's kind of negative and isn't in line with the majority of, the reaction community, as it were, then I get a lot of stick for it. And it's like, well, that's the whole thing about reacting. If it's positive, that's great. If it's negative, that's great. If it's indifferent, that's pretty fucking awful. If I'm not interested in it or bored by it, then that's no good for anybody. It's not fun to watch. It's not fun to do. It doesn't benefit the artist that I'm talking about, and is a waste of time. It is an actual waste of time. I mean, there have been moments when I've listened to something and I've been absolutely startled by my own reaction, to be honest. Like, sometimes things make me cry. And sometimes things make me laugh. Sometimes things make me feel absolutely nothing. And that's the reality of music. I think most things, by definition, or one of the definitions of the word, are average. And I think AI is making a lot more average stuff, and it's making a lot of extraordinary people average, because people are relying on it too much for things like lyrics, and I don't know, any kind of support from AI I don't really agree with. So I think I've got some unpopular opinions. I mean, that's probably the reality of it. But there's nothing worse than being bored. The only thing worse, I think, than loving or hating something is being indifferent to it, and that is, unfortunately, how I am with a lot of the stuff that I have to listen to. So I'd rather not bother. I think I want to use this channel to do, like, I mean, I've kind of phased them out for a little while, but the things I've been enjoying the most are the chats. So I think it'd be lovely to actually use this channel to do longer form interviews with either emerging artists or established artists, big names, new talents, people who have retired, for example, I don't know, or people who are in the periphery of the music trade, just stuff that I think would be interesting to talk to and provide insight into, you know, this ever-changing, ever-undulating trade where nobody really knows. I mean, there isn't a definitive route to the top. There just isn't, you know. You can do stuff, okay, so say, for example, and I'm only using these as examples, you might be Dua Lipa, you might be Youngblood, you might have a lot of privilege, a lot of support, and a lot of backing, and, you know, you might have investment firms bankrolling the whole thing, and you can do whatever you like and have all the billboards and all the presence and all that stuff, and that's great, that's awesome. But I think there's the long tail effect. There are one or two or just a handful of artists that have that sort of privilege and backing, and then there's a million, possibly more than a million other artists who have absolutely nothing, and all they're relying on is graft, you know, the actual work ethic, the willingness to continue in adverse conditions. And a lot of those people who have that philosophy and that drive are the people that I find really, really interesting. I don't think anything good artistically has ever come from a place of comfort. I'm sorry, guys. It's just an opinion. Come on. So I love talking to bands like, for example, the Royston Club.
I used to spend whole evenings watching the movements of your mouth.
Alex from the Lathams. We discussed poetry and lyricisms in great depth, and we share an interest in it, really. I thought he was a really interesting guy, and he's very, very self-effacing and modest until you get him warmed up, and then he's like, then he's badass, and it's really cool. I enjoyed talking to Jayla. And they're supporting Deep Purple this year, which is something that The Darkness did in 2003, I think. The Florentines have a drummer who's still at school. And whose mum joined the call, because I think she's Mum-ager. Yeah, that's what it's called, Mummager. That's it. Tim White and the Deadbeats. Stuck, yeah, I've been stuck in the muck. Twat D for short, which is pretty good, isn't it? I mean, who does that? It's amazing. Anyway, today I spoke to Callum Beattie, and he's spoken about his years playing for tiny crowds before filling up the Hydro in Glasgow in November. So there's a lot of really interesting stuff to talk about there. Dead Pony. Anna and Blair, also from Glasgow. And then there's Danny Sapko, my dearest angel. Choo-choo, you bastards! He's an angel. And he keeps calling me Dipstick. I don't know why. Anyway, he's got a new band called The Melancholies with a great punk singer, Kira. And then there's field music.
Are you sure you're not hiding something?
Oh my God, I've spoken about them before. Fantastic musicians, a steely determination to be contrarian in the way they approach the arrangements of their songs, and I can't wait to talk to them. Actually, but there's loads of others as well. For example, Hot Milk. They'll be joining me in Manchester. They've filled the Roundhouse, and that's a really great venue. Actually, quite a difficult thing to fill up, in various O2s, but they've been working really hard. You know, it's not easy out there. They're hustling, and that's what came out in the interview, which very few people watched. And I don't think that's actually what matters here. I think there's going to be a moment in time when the commodity that matters the most to people isn't how popular or how many people have looked at a thing or liked a thing or you know. I think the really, really important thing is going to be authenticity, especially with all this AI stuff that I keep going on about. I think there's going to be an abundance of really average stuff. So anything that's authentic, real, human, and emotive, I suppose, that's the stuff that's going to rise to the top. And I'm really happy to use my platform to shine a light on things that might just break through. I'm not interested in doing anything that's got that Disney sheen. I just don't care. It's not interesting to me. Because I think that for a lot of people, I suppose the question that I always ask is, what does success look like? And it isn't numbers. I don't think it's hits. I don't think it's selling millions of records, because nobody buys records. It's not about streams, because there's only one platform that tells you how many streams you've got. It shouldn't be a popularity contest. This is art. You know, we're not selling hamburgers. This isn't McDonald's King or whatever. This is something. It can be something really beautiful and really curated, but it caters to a smaller audience the minute you start making stuff that's interesting. So that is the choice I have to make. Do I cover the big stuff that's got all the backing and everyone else is talking about it, or do I cover things that are actually interesting? I think we all know the answer. I'm going to be covering things that are actually interesting. So that's it. That's what 50 looks like. That's what 2026 looks like. I really hope you enjoy it. Thank you so much. Happy New Year, everybody. And all the best. Come and see Justin Hawkins Rides Again, and in theatres, rather, all around the UK. I can't wait to start that tour. Actually, I don't have to wait. It's in 2 days. All right, nice one. I'll see you on the ice.
Again.